So if you're one of those people that has been scouring TikTok, YouTube, social media, the trend right now is clean, plant-based ingredients. Everyone's checking out their ingredients online to see exactly what each and every one was. So we thought it would be really amazing to have Marisa from Meadow Bark, who owns a plant-based skin company, to address menopausal skin. But what she did was pick the top 5 medical grade skincare products that actually she got it from ChatGPT, I think.
Mm-hmm. Trending.
Yeah, what the trending top 5 products are, and we're going to compare those products to her plant-based products from Meadow Bark. So without further ado, I'm here to introduce Marisa Russell, the CEO of Meadow Bark.
And Chief Alchemist.
And Chief Alchemist, excuse me.
Very important.
Yes.
Very important.
Because I do formulate and manufacture all of our products.
Incredible.
Which really enables me to have a deep understanding of the ingredients, how they work, and how they complement one another.
Right, and that's so important. It's so important. Can you give us a little bit of your background and tell us what brought you to this moment?
That would take up the whole episode. So I have 3 kids. I have 3 kids, and we're a Long Beach family. We love the beach. And at about 2016, I really started to struggle with what I call the sunscreen dilemma. It started with my kids coming home from the beach with red welts under their eyes. And no matter how much sunscreen I would put on them, the red welts would keep appearing. I would chase them all over the beach. They didn't want to put the sunblock on. I cycled through tons of brands. Nothing would work. Nothing would stay on. And then my husband took the surf trip of a lifetime to the Mentawai Islands, which is very far away. Takes 2 days to get there, 2 days to get back.
Oh my gosh.
And going on a trip like this, you do not want to burn your skin because that's just wasted time out of the water. So he packed all his high SPF sunscreens and he sizzled his skin really badly the first day of the trip, thought he ruined his trip, and his tour guide gave him a locally made paste. He said, use this, you're gonna be fine. So he put it on the burns, he put it on all his skin that was exposed to the sun. And not only did he not burn for the rest of the trip, but it healed what was there from the first day.
Wow.
So
do tell.
Yes.
What the hell was it?
So it was a locally made paste. It was in a tin. He brought it home. He bought a bunch. The kids actually wanted to use it. Like, what kid that's 8, 10, 12 years old wants to put sunscreen on? These kids wanted to use this sunscreen.
Wow.
So when we started to run out, I was like, what are we going to do? We don't have this here. And it did have the ingredients listed on the back of the tin. And the ingredients, I swear to you, they were so good, you could eat them. And it got me to thinking, I'm just going to try to make this on our kitchen stove, which is the absolute worst thing that you should do when it comes to sunscreen, because I can't even tell you how difficult it is to formulate a sunscreen that works. But that is what I did. And it had zinc oxide, which is our natural filter here that we use in sunscreens, right, in the U.S., but it also had a tree bark that comes from Myanmar. And this tree bark is what they use over there as their sunscreen. They grind up the bark of this tree that grows it's the old Burma, so it's a Burmese tree. Mm-hmm. It creates a yellow powder that's antifungal, anti-acne, antibacterial. It lightens and brightens the skin, and it's SPF. Wow. So we add it to our sun care to boost the efficacy of the zinc and cut down on the whiteness. But anyway, that was the ingredient that was really difficult to source. But when I did, I started making it on the kitchen stove, giving it to friends and family. My kids thought it was great. They got involved in the formulation process. We have one that's a mermaid stick, which my girls came up with, which is multicolor. But one thing led to another, and then I just started researching the sunscreen industry. That was not my intention. I just was looking for a sunscreen that worked for my kids.
Do tell.
So I just, it really hit a nerve for me when I started translating, first of all, because the ingredients are listed in what's called an INCI, which is an international nomenclature, which is Latin, which the average consumer, as I was, does not have a clue what those mean. So after going through all of those words, deciphering them, understanding the origins of the ingredients, and then reading research studies tied to each of those ingredients, I was like, what is going on here? Why is this allowed? Why are these products being sold? Because as a consumer, if you can buy it at your local grocery store, drugstore, you just want to think it's safe for you. It's good for you. And so that's really what prompted the whole business for Meadow Bark, was really like hitting a nerve of what have I been putting on myself and my kids, I think we can do better. And that's where we are.
Right, but Marisa, I don't think people really understand the magnitude of what is actually in our sunscreens right now and what we're putting on our babies and slathering on our children every 2 hours, okay? So tell us, and now it's all over the news, but it's still in every CVS, every Walgreens, it's everywhere. So please tell us number one, what those ingredients cause, and tell us about the hormone disruption, because you guys are going to be shocked to hear this.
Yes. So there are some major chemical sunscreen filters that you would find on a chemical sunscreen. Very often they're sprays, they can be lotion, they can be creams, they can be gels. Those filters are usually listed at the top above the inactive ingredients in a sunscreen. So they're called the active ingredients. You would see names or words like avobenzone, homosalate, oxybenzone, octisalate, homosalate, octicrylene. The list goes on. And so when I started researching each one of these ingredients, I found things. Well, first of all, this is the biggest thing that I can't get over, is the FDA only lists 2 sunscreen filters as generally recognized as safe and effective, and those are zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. The others are not listed as safe and effective. However, manufacturers are allowed to use them in their products.
Why, though?
Why?
I don't understand.
The why?
Based on
So
amount.
Based on amount. So,
Right.
yes. And also because they don't have enough information to say you have to stop doing that. And there's a lot of lobbyists for all these companies that have invested a lot. So they're they're advocating for themselves and the research that they have.
And the Cosmetic Act was established in the early 80s, and to the best of my knowledge, it has not been reauthorized. So it's old information.
Yes, old information, and a very, very difficult process to get through when it comes to getting new ingredients approved, because sunscreen is considered a drug here in the U.S., which means it has to go through a drug review.
Right.
When you find a new sunscreen active in Europe, they consider sunscreen a cosmetic product. So it's easier for them to get new ingredients that might be better than what we have here through the process. But some of those ingredients that I mentioned earlier have been linked to endocrine disruption. And what that means is things like lower sperm counts in young boys. Ingredients that attach to the estrogen receptors in our bodies that accelerate the growth of breast cancer cells. So there's plenty of studies on this that you can find. And there's plenty of studies on the other side that say these things aren't true. But for me, I said it's not worth the risk.
Right.
Like, if there's a better way, let's find it. And when I began becoming very interested in sunscreen and skincare, a lot of the mineral options were thick, white, and gooey, and nobody wanted to use them.
Very outdated.
Very outdated. And so, yeah, I was on a mission to just create something people would actually want to use. And it started with that, with the sunscreen dilemma. I had no experience in chemical formulation. I taught myself. I failed 1,000 times over. So I've built this business through failure and through incredible mentorship from my previous clients at some of the big consumer packaged goods companies that really mentored me in the beginning. And we partnered with third-party labs to validate everything that we do. I also took online chemistry courses, joined community forums with like chemists in there. And anytime I'd have a problem, I would reach out and say, this is what I'm dealing with. And people were really generous with their time and their knowledge. So that's how we've come to be.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is
Very
so. I think when I think about how far you've come since I've known you and I've been using your skincare, I mean, that's a whole other subject about when you are trying to be diligent about your face and then you're not doing your homework with any kind of skincare. That's a whole other episode. But tell us a little bit about the products that you found on ChatGPT as the top 5 products that we're going to compare with the Meadow and Bark plant-based products.
Okay. Well, the number one, and this is probably one of the gold standard products when it comes to lightening, brightening, fighting hyperpigmentation, is the SkinCeuticals CE Ferulic. Right? You guys know it. It's a great product.
Yeah. Right.
A lot of people love it. It is known for anti-aging, brightening, and pollution protection.
Okay.
So from a Meadow Bark perspective, we have our Brightening Essence, which is an oil-free serum that's loaded with multiple forms of hyaluronic acid, which plump up the skin, niacinamide, astaxanthin, like all the peptides, plant stem cells, all the things you want in your skincare. Magnesium ascorbyl phosphate. There's multiple forms of vitamin C. So what we do to really meet that SkinCeuticals approach is we offer a vitamin C booster that's also packed with ferulic acid. And it is the most potent form of vitamin C on the planet because it's fresh, it's in the powder form, and it's stored in a Myron glass UV-resistant airtight bottle. So when you add it to the Brightening Essence in your palm, it's the freshest vitamin C on the planet.
Wow.
And so that's our answer to that, with 100% clean, plant-powered ingredients that you can feel good about.
Well,
Okay.
I will definitely try that because I think
it now.
anyone who loves vitamin C or knows a little bit enough, they know that the most important thing is that the vitamin C is efficacious, that when you use it, there's a result because the ingredients have been formulated properly and it's stored properly, because the storage of how it's actually put into the bottle or whatever that delivery mechanism is the most important part when you get it to the consumer, right? So that it's fresh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Vitamin C degrades so quickly, especially ascorbic acid, because it's the most powerful, it's the most finicky, it's the most unstable. So if you have a vitamin C serum, you want to use it. Like, use it. Don't let it sit in your drawer. It's just going to go bad. Like 30 days later, it's a little bit weaker
Right.
than day one that you bought it.
And what I love about Marisa is we've been to different spas all over, all over the East Coast. She's been in, her products are in different spas all over the world. But I remember one time we were out east and one of the big hotels wanted to take her on. And she saw the way they had their other vitamin C and she opened it up and she's like, nope, we have to go. Like, she was not having her product in this place where something was expired, because she's so diligent about everything that she does, which I love.
Yeah, that could really kill a brand. If
that
it's
can
not
kill your
being
brand.
handled properly.
So true.
It's important to care.
Yeah. We really look for partners that are invested in the skincare, the knowledge, and helping their customers.
And so you also have some kind of a procedure and onboarding too, right? For
New
your
spas.
estheticians and new
Yes.
spas.
Yes. So we always take them through, we do an onboarding session. We take them through each product, specific protocols for different types of skin. And that can take a while because we have a lot of products and we want them to understand. We give them the cheat sheets that they can have right in the room that have all the, potential allergy concerns, what the product is for, what it doesn't go well with, what it does go well with. Because they're not always going to use all Meadow and Bark products, so they need to be armed.
I feel compelled to say that, if I know a lot about this industry, the one thing that I know to be so true and to your credit is the hardest thing to do in the beauty and wellness space is to launch a skincare line. So congratulations that you're doing so well. It's the most difficult thing an entrepreneur can decide to take on.
Because it's so competitive, right? Is that why?
Yeah,
It's
the
so
space is so
competitive.
crowded, and the claims, and it's just how do you stand out in that crowd? And you really have. So I don't need to hear anything else. I'm good.
Thank you. Had somebody said this to me in the beginning, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah,
I just kind
get that.
did it.
But it started as a passion, as a mom,
Yes.
right? As a wife, because you
Yes.
had a need. So I think the best business comes from a personal, being driven personally.
Yeah.
There was a need. Your family needed something better.
Authentic.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially when you're at that level of your career where you're already established in New York City and you're a big time executive at, an AOL or a Time Warner, and then you say, guess what? I'm doing this. And
Time
you
for a
completely,
change.
Do a complete turnaround. So I give you a lot of credit for that.
Turnaround.
Yeah.
The big question is, were you in menopause when you did this? I'm kidding.
Yes.
Did you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I had
had an idea.
I had a very easy perimenopause, menopause. Like, I just breezed into it. Definitely gained some weight, but outside of that, didn't really have some of the things that other people go through. So I was lucky.
Right.
Great.
But I was slathering my skincare on the whole time.
And I just keep thinking about, my mind's eye. I was listening to you speak about how our children, we're layering. And Ingrid said every 2 hours they come out of the water and we're adding SPF.
Get over here right now.
Yeah,
Let me put it on.
we're spraying it on them. They're inhaling it.
That's the worst.
Think about that for a minute.
Think about that, what you're doing.
You don't know until you know.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
you watched I Love Lucy and they're smoking on TV like
Right.
it's normal.
And it's the same thing even when you talk about like hormone replacement therapy. Someone that's been on birth control their whole life is going to say, "I'm not going on hormone replacement therapy." What do you think you've been doing for all these
everybody
years?
missed it. You were busy. You weren't here yet. We just had a big debate in the dressing room. Wait, we have, to your point.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what we think everybody thinks they know.
Right. And it's so true. The same thing with the skincare that we're talking about now. If we get back to the SkinCeuticals, can you tell me that product that you said was the second product in that ingredient?
Okay, let's see if I can pronounce it. Okay, so when I looked at the ingredients for SkinCeuticals, the first ingredient is water. I'll also say that we don't use water as an ingredient in our formulations. We'll use a botanical water. Water is super important in skincare. It helps the delivery of all the actives and the oils and all of that. The second ingredient is called ethoxy-diclox. I can't even say this word. Let me try again. Ethoxy-diclox.
You can do it, Marisa.
Sound it out.
It's a petrochemical, meaning it's derived from petroleum, which there are a lot of ingredients in skincare that are derived from petroleum. The concern among some, and why we don't use it, is that it could be linked to carcinogens, which are cancer-causing agents. Does it mean that this is going to cause cancer? I'm not saying that.
Right.
But some people that are looking for ingredients that steer clear of things like this may not want that.
Well, that's the whole thing. That was the whole point of this. So many people on TikTok, especially, are going berserk with each and every little ingredient.
Right.
And that's why even the Yucca app, like I heard that they're sponsoring some skincares, and I'm not sure I'm down with that.
And think of the impact, because they have 56 million followers,
Right.
Gen Zers.
Exactly. And now Gen Zers, I have to hand it to them. They're not just sitting around putting anything on their skin.
No, they're not.
They are really, going at it.
Yeah.
But
In defense of that app, because I use that app, I've put in or scanned skincare products, big brand, and they've gotten a 0. So I don't know who's sponsoring them, but I can tell you that I have put in major skincare supermarket sometimes brands, and it'll say 0. So
okay, well, if there's anyone that knows, it's probably you, because I'm sure you're diligent about that. So I'm going to give Yucca another try. Okay, product number 2.
Elastin Skincare Regenerating Skin Nectar. It's best for post-procedure recovery, firming, and skin barrier support.
Okay,
Would
so
you add
when you
anything
go,
to that? You guys know the product.
No, I think that's a fair description.
Okay. So
what does it have in it that?
okay, let's talk about it. The first ingredient is cyclopentasiloxane,
Which is
a silicone.
okay.
The second ingredient is dimethicone cross-polymer, another silicone.
Okay.
So silicones in skincare don't necessarily do anything for the skin from a nourishment perspective, but
Okay.
it adds an incredible sensory experience to the product. So nice
Hence,
slip.
that's why we use it.
It feels nice.
Right, and the polymers are like chains that actually kind of attach to actually create that slip, and it's a barrier. So
Yes.
it makes it feel like it's all intact.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that not good? Is silicone not a good thing to have in there, or it's just more for effect than it is
Silicone.
for?
It's in so many cosmetic
It is.
products.
So many.
And it's in also for sexual pleasure, which you have to make a
Little slip.
yep.
A little slip.
Glide
Like
has
I
to come
said,
up
I
next.
started that right with the slip.
Yeah. Okay, so
Silicone, though-
your product in retrospect helps. The plant-based product is which?
Moroccan Blue Moisture Boost.
My favorite.
Love.
So the Moroccan Blue is a very rich beauty balm that contains butters, non-comedogenic butters, and oils, and blue tansy. And blue tansy is a vasoconstrictor, so it's excellent for redness in the skin, rosacea, inflammation. Like if you had a bug bite and put this on, it would just shrink the inflammation around the bug bite.
Wow, that's
so we
amazing.
have lots of customers that use our Moroccan Blue post-procedure, whether they're having cancer treatments, even going through chemo because their skin is just so sensitive and so dry. So the Moroccan Blue firms the skin, hydrates the skin, and calms the redness.
And the smell is delicious.
Would that
every night it makes me want to put it on because it smells so good.
So, to your point, silicones are used in a lot of scar gels post-procedure. So my background is working around plastics. So we see big scars, incision sites from tummy tucks, breast reductions, and they're giving silicone gel or silicone-based products to help heal the scar, flatten the scar. So would this be comparable?
No, it would be that your what you just described sounds more like it's binding it, right? Is it binding?
It's not holding it together, but it's helping flatten it as it heals.
Yes. So yes, because
Yes.
this is anti-inflammatory, so it's like calming and allowing the skin to heal at a faster rate.
Wow. Okay, so then I need more of that, Marisa. Okay, product number 3.
Zeo Skin Health Exfoliating Polish.
Okay.
So it's a scrub and exfoliator.
Is it like the hibiscus?
So our hibiscus would be the alternative.
Okay.
Yeah. So our hibiscus scrub is loaded with physical exfoliant and willow bark, which is considered a beta hydroxy acid. So you're getting a little bit of both chemical and physical exfoliant in the product. And it's just like a skin nourishing, skin plumping
Oh, I love it.
means to polish your skin.
Yeah.
so
Did you bring that for
interesting.
them?
No, I brought yours though.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's so interesting. Do you guys around this time of the year when the weather's getting nice, do you ever have hibiscus plants for the entire summer? I'll tell you, the reason I'm asking is last summer I was absolutely blown away by the power of a hibiscus plant with the blossom to open and close every morning and the life that it has. And they close at night to go to sleep, and then in the morning they open. And I was almost speechless every day. I was watering them in the morning and I was like, wow, what are they going to do today? So it's such a powerful plant-based derivative that's in your product. And I think of it and I'm like, wow, it's like, it gives like life.
It's alive.
Yeah.
It's
Powerful.
really alive.
It's incredible. So everybody get a hibiscus plant this
Do
summer.
they need full sun?
Oh yeah, they
Full
do really
sun?
well.
Yeah.
So do you want to add to that?
Hibiscus is so great for the skin, tones, purifies, but I think it's like, if you think about plants and their amazing resilience, there's a lot
They're alive.
for that. And the healing nature, and there's so many plants that are being used in like real medicine and science to heal, right? So I just believe in the power
I'd like
of
to
plants.
order one. I'd like to try it. That's great.
So now the medical grade skincare product that was in comparison to the hibiscus
The skin
scrub
polish.
is the skin polish. And what were the ingredients in the skin polish? And why does it make it medical grade?
Okay. So
That's
this is my definition, but I think these ladies here would be able to expand much more upon what I would say is, when I think of professional grade skincare, they have proven results. They are very potent, right? So they're very potent and should probably be used under guidance.
Yes.
Right? And so when I think about Meadow Bark, our products are very potent. Like, we put the max that we can of each ingredient, knowing that the ingredients can play well together. We use clinically backed ingredients. So we study the ingredients, where they come from, and the results associated with all of the ingredients. Our products yet have not gone through all the clinical trials. So that, I think, is a major difference between Meadow Bark and some of the professional grade products.
And there is a difference between a professional grade, and I direct this at Dana, and a medical grade.
There is. So professional grade just has to be registered if the manufacturer decides to. When you bring it to market, you're selling it to someone who has a license. There's an assumption that they know how to handle the product. Whereas the medical grade could be then prescribed to a consumer who is the end user, a doctor or dermatologist. And their products are more reactive. So the professional side of it, if you are looking to, as an entrepreneur, you have a lot more freedom, a lot more wiggle room, so to speak, versus bringing it to a cosmeceutical which has to have all of the consumer testing, the safety dossiers, and everything you just mentioned, that you have to go through all the clinical trials in order to go to the cosmetic review board and then have everything safe for consumer use. So,
Can I ask you a quick question? When it comes to plant-based ingredients with clinical efficacy, what does that mean? Does it mean that it's been tested just as well as a medical grade product has? I mean, I don't know as much about this as you guys do.
so it means that it's had certain types of consumer studies based on the distribution of the product. So it really depends. You know, it's kind of painting with a broad brush. It's a plant-based with efficacy, right? But where is it being sold?
Right.
Who's recommending or prescribing? So.
Right, because in talking about the loss of estrogen in menopause and the difference between medical grade skincare products and plant-based skincare products, I was, before I started using Meadow Bark, always under the assumption that I'm always going to use medical grade because I'll never get the results that I would quicker, faster, better, the whole 9 yards. But that's not true.
Not the case.
It's not the case.
Plant-based can be really powerful.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
Especially
that's
on her
one thing that people don't
ingredients.
know. And I think that, especially with Meadow Bark, they are pushing it to that medical grade level where you're seeing the results. I mean, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly
So
because
you're
I'm not
saying
a...
You're getting a medical grade result.
Okay, right.
Right,
She's saying it
with
the right
a
way.
Professional, natural, organic product.
plant-based
Because
product.
plants can be really powerful.
Sure.
They can be fantastic. They can be they can be poisonous. Right. So where you can say, someone's gonna kill you, use a poison. A plant, the wrong leaf, you eat a berry off the wrong, it can kill you.
Right.
So that's of course the bad side of, but it's as an example of how powerful plant-based ingredients can be. So I think what you're saying is medical grade, super strong prescription under the care of a doctor versus somebody, who is putting together these plant-based products.
That's the process.
Right.
So with the
Right.
plant-based, the process of how they come to that end product is different than if you're in a cosmeceutical laboratory. There might be additives that someone who wants to be plant-based, who wants everything, from the ground, from the root, for, however their lifestyle, their health reasons are, you're not going to get that with the cosmeceutical. There's going to be ingredients that they don't want in their body, on their body.
Right.
But you can get an equal result from a
Right.
medical grade versus an organic plant-based. You can get a super strong
Natural
result.
versus
Right.
synthetic.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the
That's
difference.
one thing that I think will be of interest to people because I think a lot of people are under the assumption that medical grade is always better.
Right.
Because I was always under the assumption
Yeah, we
that.
just talked earlier about the difference between natural body, bioidentical, versus synthetic,
Right.
created in a lab, and how it's received by your body.
Right.
So they're two
Right.
completely
If it
different
goes through your
things.
liver or if it doesn't,
how it's
if it's not
metabolized,
absorbed.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and I
God,
think
you
can I
sound so
just add-
smart, ladies. My
Are we
goodness.
sounding really
I
smart?
love this.
I mean,
I could see her all day.
for a while.
But just think about how many people just don't think about it, don't know. We only hope that somebody that might, be watching or tune in for a minute catches this.
Right.
Because just the, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like this, the carcinogenic of this aerosol spray.
Just the aerosol
Take
spray and the
everything else
sunscreen-
out of the
sunscreen.
picture.
Yeah.
We're grabbing these kids and we're spraying them.
So really, in cosmetics, aerosol, other than hairspray, but Dior has a product. They have this foundation that you can't buy it anymore because all of the companies are moving away from it. All of those
I
things.
did like that though. It
That was
gave
a great
some
product.
coverage though,
Yeah.
honey. Whew.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People don't
But
know.
you know what? The greatest thing about what I am using Sharon's lasers and BBLs in conjunction with Meadow Bark, so I have the best of both. But I think that a lot of people don't realize that you don't use your sunscreen, you might as well just throw that money away. You might
Half
as well
the
just
result.
chuck it down the,
need it.
True
Half
down
of
the
your
drain.
result is what you do when
you
you
do
walk out
after.
of my office. I say this
That's
to
what she says
clients.
all the
I
time.
post it on social media, not only my office, in general. People are so quick to lay out thousands of dollars for treatments. And I've turned people away from my practice. You know me, when I do my consultation, you have to go through a whole list of questions.
You have to pass inspection in
But
order
you
for
do.
Sharon to take you on.
Because if somebody tells me, I cannot tell you how many women will say, I really want to get started right now because I want a clean canvas, so when I get to the beach, I can get a nice tan and get rid of these old age spots. What?
Oh my, who is that? How dare they say that?
They're
Don't they
probably
know?
watching, so I'm not going to say your name.
They know who they
But
are.
you know who you are.
I got called
you
out
know
last,
who you are.
I got
Don't
called
do
out
that.
last
Yeah.
episode because my friend who went to St. Martin and told me that the laser I suggested that she get didn't work because she got brown spots all over her. And she sent me those photos from a pool in St. Martin.
Yeah.
Topless
Happens to
and
me all the
hatless, I
time.
might add. Now you really know who you are.
Happens all the time.
Right?
Yeah. I catch them.
Yeah.
I catch them on Instagram. They texted me, I have to get in. I need that. And you know who you are. Again, I need this appointment. I have to get in. I have 2 weeks before vacation. I have an event when I'm on vacation, a wedding, whatever it is. And we get the beautiful result, nice, clear, everything's perfect. And they're posting on a boat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no hat, no nut. They're brown. And I'm like, and I'm talking fits too, like meaning a light, fair skin, blue-eyed, for those who don't know the Fitzpatrick scale, like those are the girls that burn first always, but now they're brown, so they've really fried themselves.
Right.
Why? The skincare, the products you use, what you put on your skin is just as important, if not more important, than the treatment you're getting. I can only help you so far.
So now we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsor.
Hey, New York. I'm Harvey, proud owner of Optics and veteran in the eyewear industry. Consider this. Why would someone have a closet full of shoes but only a few pair of glasses when eyewear is the only accessory that completely changes the way you look, feel, and the way you're perceived? At Optics, Cartier, Chanel, Dior, Lindbergh headline our extensive collection of luxury eyewear. Our opticians are trained to style and fit your face to ensure that when you leave Optics, your friends will be wondering where you shop.
So in that exfoliating polish that we were just chatting about, the first ingredient is PEG-8. So when you see PEG, P-E-G in capital letters, that means it's a petroleum-derived ingredient. The second and third ingredients also are PEGs. So just to give you an idea, that product is lauded for being an excellent exfoliator. So if you're not looking for those types of ingredients in your skincare, then you might want to look for plant-powered.
Okay, perfect. And that was, what was the name of it again?
The Zeo Skin Health Exfoliating Polish.
Okay, and the comparison is
The Hibiscus Cleansing Scrub.
Okay, perfect.
So it's a cleanser and an exfoliator in one.
Great. And now let's go to number 4.
Is Skin Medica TNS Advanced Plus Serum.
Okay, and what is that for?
This one is known for wrinkles, skin rejuvenation, sagging or thinning skin.
Oh, ladies with the loss of estrogen, that thinning skin. Oof.
This is an interesting product because it blends growth factors with peptides. So
I need to know more. I mean, that's everywhere, right? The growth factors and peptides, and I don't know what the hell it is.
We don't use growth factors, not for any other reason that we're really agnostic when it comes to that at this point. I don't know if you ladies have an opinion on that. Have you seen it? Have you used it?
I just know that they are looked at as building blocks to address all of those things that you just talked about.
Yep.
To make the skin firmer, to make it feel like it has a collagen boost, but I don't know if it really works.
What do you think?
The exosomes, peptides have a great reputation.
I think
people
the jury's
love them.
still out. I think
Okay.
I like things that are FDA cleared in terms of
Which they're not yet.
Right. Some of them. I mean,
So this says growth factors are naturally occurring proteins or synthetic bioengineered molecules that signal your skin cells to regenerate, heal, and build collagen and elastin. So if it does work, you might want to sign me up.
they regurgitate
say
that.
that.
Like, yep.
I think I said that.
Wow, you
All
are
that.
good.
She is good. She's better than me at that.
You are good. Wow. Okay.
So what was the question?
Wait, what did we just say? Wait, so that is a synthetic, so it's not anything to do with plant-based?
This one is not plant-based.
Right, meaning it's synthetic. So it's created in a laboratory somewhere.
Okay.
Right.
So what's the comparable product?
The comparable, so with Meadow Bark, we create our products to be multitaskers. So when you look at a product like this one we just mentioned, the Skin Medica product, it's a $270 serum. You get a little bottle because the human stem cells are very expensive for them to formulate with. For us, our alternative would be that brightening essence that we talked about earlier that's loaded with plant stem cells, which would be our answer to the human stem cells.
Oh, interesting.
Active, right? Lots of peptides, vitamin C, multiple forms of vitamin C. So it's the brightening essence plus that vitamin C booster again, plus our botanical serum, which is loaded with plant-based, what we call plant-based retinol, which is bakuchiol, more vitamin C. So those three products together would be our answer for that.
So I have to stop you right there. You have to repeat that. People are not aware that you can find a natural plant-based retinol. Say all of that again.
Say it again.
There's actually
Hallelujah.
retinol that is natural that you can find in plant-based product.
Yes, so let's
At Meadow
so
Bark?
retinol is synthetic vitamin A made in a lab on steroids.
Right.
It's designed to fight premature aging, wrinkles. It even
It's the
helps
holy
with
grail,
acne.
basically.
And if not used correctly or for the wrong skin type, it could be very aggressive, too aggressive.
Exactly. It can cause peeling. It
Redness.
can dryness.
All the things you want to get rid of.
All the things you want to get rid of.
Yeah, I don't
It
use
works for
retinols
a
at
lot
all.
of people, but yes, you have
Yeah.
to use it correctly.
Right.
And there is some photosensitivity involved with that. So if you go out in the sun without your sunscreen, not a good result.
Yeah.
Much like what we were just talking about. We use an ingredient that comes from a plant. It's called bakuchiol. Molecularly, it looks the same as the retinol.
Wow.
And it has the same impact in studies without the photosensitivity, without the dryness. So if you're struggling with the wrinkles or even the acne, bakuchiol is a great option.
So if you're using that product, I have to ask, when we see a client for laser or light-based treatment, like a broadband light, which is the cousin of IPL, if you're using a retinol, you have to stop for a period of time before because of the photosensitivity. Would it be the same with your product, or would it be different because there's no photosensitivity? So we can
It should be different.
so they can work together as opposed to needing to stop the protocol of one every time you have a
That's
treatment.
very
Yeah.
interesting, Sharon.
Yeah.
Well, it's important because people are
Right.
very confused, and there are sometimes providers that miss a step and they don't tell them to stop using their retinol. And that's a big deal because your setting needs to bump down or not treat them at all unless they've been off their retinol for a period of time. And that's, so we'll see the people, well, I had an IPL once and I got burned. So we know the why. So with your product, we wouldn't necessarily need to have them off that product. Important.
So basically what you're saying in a nutshell is if you're doing broadband light or laser treatments and you have previously been on Retin-A,
Retinol, tretinoin, any of those
tretinoin,
things.
any of those things, that you could possibly use the Meadow and Bark equivalent of the Retin-A without the side effects. Is that what I'm hearing?
Without the
Right
extra
up to the
sensitivity.
treatment.
Without
You
the
wouldn't have to
extra
stop.
sensitivity, you wouldn't have to stop. Okay, very interesting. And actually, I remember a few years ago when I first started using this package, the three of them, the vitamin C, the botanical,
Botanical serum and the brightening essence.
and the brightening essence. You were the first person that ever told me I could mix products together in my hand and then put them on my face.
We keep talking about that. It's a common conversation the three
Yeah,
of us
because
have.
I was always told that you needed to
Layer
layer
and
and this and
dry.
that. And for the most part, you
Yes.
say that you can put it all together.
Yes, layering is absolutely the best way to go. However, there's nothing wrong with cocktailing, especially if you just need to get out of the house and get it done.
And
Right.
isn't absorption like
Yeah, as long as you are using products with some sort of water, or if your skin is damp, your skin needs to be damp
Right.
for your skincare to actually penetrate the skin. If you use a waterless product on dry skin, it's not going to go as far as it could as if your skin was damp.
Right. That's why I like to use the facial mist that you have. And I also like to, sometimes if I'm in a pinch, I'll use one of those cleansing cloths,
Right.
and you have to do a double wash because people don't realize that when you use that cleansing cloth, you almost have a
leaving a
little film over you.
yeah.
And then when you put your products on, it's not getting through. So if you do the double wash and a little spray, you're good to go.
Yeah. The water acts as the carrier to help the penetration. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5. And
Number
the last
5.
one. Here we
The
go.
last one. Where's number 5?
After number 4,
Oh,
it's
here
there.
it is. And you guys, I might be saying this wrong. The Obagi New Derm Clear.
Obagi, yeah.
Obagi.
Great.
Okay, I've never used this product.
Okay, so
This is what
That's fair. Thanks for being
ChatGPT
honest.
says. So this is used for discoloration, melasma, and uneven skin tone.
Okay.
It's got a kojic acid.
Yeah, and Obagi's great. I mean, I've used
I know a lot of
Obagi, too.
people that went to Dr. Obagi actually spent time with him to do the whole, and he's huge on retinols.
And
Strong.
kojic acid is so effective for under eye dark circles. It will
Any
really
type of
address the redness,
hyperpigmentation.
the
Okay,
the blue, the
so
purple.
we're talking about Dr. Obagi's,
Yes.
what is it?
New Derm Clear FX.
Okay, Dr. Obagi New Derm Clear FX
Yes.
is a medical grade skincare product that's number 4 on the list.
5.
Oh, number
we're on
5
5.
on
We're
the
on
list.
5.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And
so,
what are the claims that it says, if you don't mind again?
It says best for discoloration, melasma, and uneven skin tone.
Okay.
okay, great. And so the equivalent, the plant-based equivalent from Meadow and
So
Bark.
let me also say that this product has arbutin in it. So arbutin is a synthetic ingredient that's designed to really help with melasma. So we use what's called alpha arbutin and bearberry extract, which is like the origination of where that concept for arbutin even came from. And we use that in our brightening essence. So I mentioned our products are multitaskers, right? So it's in our brightening essence. And we also use licorice extract, and this is in the brightening essence. So the brightening essence, as you can see, I've mentioned it virtually as a replacement for
Right,
many
that's
of
your
these. because
superhero.
Right.
It is our superhero that you use with all of the other products in our line.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, I think that, like we said before, and we have to repeat it again, so many people don't realize that medical grade skincare products can be just as good as plant-based, like Sharon said. And I think when more people know that are conscious of what they're putting on their skin, then these are the products that they're going to want to have in their back pocket.
And what is the purpose of the licorice?
It's a
what does
brightener.
that do? Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And, you know, on the kojic, we use kojic acid in a few products, not this one, but kojic acid is a really interesting ingredient because it actually stops the proliferation of melasma and hyperpigmentation. It stops your skin from producing so much pigment.
I didn't know you could put it on your entire face. I thought it was
Yes.
very target specific.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
interesting.
So if you
Put it over your
stop
face.
using it, it picks up again. The production of the melanin picks up again.
Wow.
So that's one, you know, all products, the more you use them and you're compliant, your skin looks better. But that one in particular actually signals the skin to stop producing the melanin.
So interesting.
So if you have melasma, what is the number 1 skincare medical grade product that you guys would say to someone if you have melasma, and can you use it during pregnancy?
I don't
Because I
recommend
know a
using
lot of
anything
people-
during pregnancy. Of
A
course.
lot of people, when they're pregnant, they get melasma, right?
Because
Especially
it's
like
exacerbated by-
in the 3rd trimester.
Yeah.
Can you use your products if you're pregnant in the 3rd trimester, or you're?
I always say you should
Yeah.
always ask your doctor because everybody has
It's
a very
different.
unique situation. I feel good about the ingredients and where they come from, but I would never recommend anybody to do anything because I'm not a doctor.
Right.
Even
Okay.
being in house with doctors, it's so risky because, God forbid, nobody knows if something is wrong.
Right.
You don't want to have a hand in that.
No.
If a product is powerful enough to have an effect, it's absorbed into your skin, into your bloodstream. It's going to be absorbed by the baby. You know, I, as a provider,
good point.
would
Okay.
not.
And from the work that I've done on the R&D side, you know, with the labs I've worked with over the years, many times, if not 9 out of 10, the product that comes to market, the cosmeceutical, something at mass retail, has been identified by a natural product, by something that's plant-based. That's always the way I've experienced it. So I think that the cosmeceutical industry really was derived from natural plant ingredients anyway.
Right.
And then they just supercharged everything, and, you know, had turbo boosters and intensifiers and all these, you know, different things. But, you know, everything comes from the earth in the beginning, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting
Yeah.
concept.
Yep.
So as we're wrapping up, Marisa, do you want to talk to us about Turks and Caicos? Tell us about your new...
I'm going to get up and leave because I can't go. And I really wanted to go. It was a hot
one.
topic in my house, but
Yeah.
we have another family trip. So
Well, this
Next
is
year.
hopefully the first of many. It's been an interesting turn for our business because we've, since the beginning, we've always blended this idea of self-care, the ritual of taking the time for yourself, feeding your soul, feeding your skin, right? It all comes together. And now that we have been expanding globally and we have partners in the Caribbean and now in Turks and Caicos, we said, why don't we just host a retreat and take everybody to the spa that
Wow.
How
we're partnered
nice.
with. And from that, we've assembled this amazing talent that is going to take us through meditation and yoga and stand-up paddleboard and healthy food and just come together to really spend time on ourselves.
So we have so many beauty enthusiasts and beauty professionals that follow the podcast. Please tell us what doors you're in. I'm so curious. So Turks and Caicos, you're in a resort there.
Yeah, we're in two there.
Okay.
The
We can
Palms.
say the
You
names.
can name them, of
yeah,
course.
we
Yeah,
want to know.
We're in the Palms Spa,
Okay.
the Dune Spa at the Shore Club.
Wow.
Didn't the Palms just get rated #1 by World Travel?
Yes, we
Yes,
did see
number
that.
one in the
Such a
in the
subtle
Caribbean.
yes.
That's so
It's
great.
the
Yes.
largest and one of the most beautiful spas in the Caribbean.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
We are in the Ritz-Carlton in St. Thomas. We are in a beautiful apothecary in St. John called Golden Hour. So we're also in apothecaries. We are in, where else are we? We're in Rincon, Puerto Rico. That's a favorite of our
wow.
Long Beach people.
I saw your surf sticker paste, yeah,
Yes.
so that must be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But that's
yeah.
really just so amazing that, I
Wow.
mean, and the press that you've gotten recently has been great. And to go from your kitchen to a global
Corporate
skincare
to-
product
yeah.
is just, I'm so proud of you. And I'm so proud of you just as my friend, but also as an entrepreneur and as someone that really cared about the community and your family. You know, you're such a great family person and a great mom. And I'm just so excited to see where you're
Thank you,
going with
Ingrid.
this. Yeah.
I really
great.
appreciate
And
that.
besides in Long Island, I know that you mentioned Long Beach, right?
Yeah.
Right? What other locations in Long Island?
Greenport,
Okay.
Special Effects, Salon and
Okay.
Spa, beautiful spot.
Montauk, you're in Montauk. A
Montauk,
few
below the
places in
blue.
Montauk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in Paso Robles, the Allegretto Spa and Resort,
Wow.
and
More to come.
more
Yeah,
to
more
come.
to come.
Okay.
Just
So-
keeps
We just
every
hired
day.
a team in
So I-
Israel to sell for us
You need to
internationally.
come to the Institute. I'd love to have you speak to the students
I would love that.
and
Oh,
do a
yay.
demonstration and bring product. And how great would that be?
I would love that.
Yeah. I know you've been there before, but
Yes, but I would love to do it for that. That
Yeah,
would be
and
great.
your business. Wow.
Yeah.
So if an esthetician wants to carry your products, how do they contact you? What's the best way
Yep,
to be
so they can
introduced to
reach
that?
out to, thank you for asking that question. They can reach out to us on Instagram or hello@meadowandbark.com.
Oh, that's nice.
yeah.
Because people may see this, and there are a lot of beauty enthusiasts and providers that may want to offer these products. And I think something you said before we end, you put them through a training process, because the biggest problem that I see, people are confused. I'm listening to all these products. I'm not as familiar with your line. I myself would love to try it. It's something that I think my clients would love. People need a plan. The provider really needs to be able to understand every product and customize the protocol. Each client has different needs. So I know that they, do a number of different things, and they, play well together. What did you say? They have
Complement.
complement each other,
Yep.
and that's great. but every client walking out of their, facial should have a recommended plan of each product and why. And,
I agree.
And sometimes people don't buy things just because they simply leave their spa service or, facial, and they just don't know. Maybe the provider says, we carry this line.
Yeah, that annoys me.
We need to know what, but that happens a lot, right?
No, because I've seen it happen when I go away to spas I see the transaction at the end, and I'm like, how is this person walking out, their face is bright red with nothing?
Right.
Because the esthetician is afraid to come across that they're trying to push and sell, and they're missing the mark because the client wants to know. They've paid for the service.
They're
They
there
don't know.
for exactly
An
that.
education.
Right.
And so if you educate them, the sale happens organically.
Right.
If you're selling
Right.
to them, there's an opportunity to lose the sale.
And
Yeah.
that starts at the root with what you said, because every provider that takes on your products is going through a rigorous training, and they're needing to understand what each product does. Because I think a lot of times they don't sell just because they don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, education and awareness is really one of our biggest pillars when it comes to our partners and our customers, because that was one of the biggest insights. People just don't know how to take care of their skin. I
And
had
they
one
would if they
customer
knew.
that came in and she was like 40, terrible acne. And I'm like, tell me about what you're doing at home. She's like, well, I had these retin-A pads and then they dried up. So I poured rubbing alcohol in. And I was like, stop.
Stop right there.
Stop right there.
Right
But
there.
It just made me realize people really
Don't know.
don't know.
Yes.
No, they
So-
don't know.
And it's frustrating.
And,
I feel
and
bad
the other
for,
thing that
you know.
frustrates me a lot too is that some people will, like I said, spend all this money on their lasers and then not want to spend a little bit more on their skincare because they think it's too much money, when this is all natural and it's
I could smell that from here.
no, this is my favorite. This is the Abundance Oil.
Oh, I'm
Pass
a
that
body
along when you're
oil
done, Dana.
It just smells
obsessed. It's I could
really
smell
does.
it as soon as you
It
put it on.
smells
I
like a
smelled
spa.
it.
And
It
this
smells
is
That's
raised-
a limited edition, but Ingrid really likes that
No,
one.
I love it.
Pass that along.
You have
This
to,
is.
I got one for
This
each
is
of you.
like
Yes.
velvet. It's beautiful.
isn't it? It smells so good.
I love body oil. This is.
You know, I'll lose this the second I walk in my house. My kids will go, what's that? What's that? I
hide
can
it.
smell that. What's that?
So this is the product. This is really what all your products. A lot of them come in this.
Most of them.
Most of them come
so
in this
beautiful.
black.
Yeah, it does smell very
It's actually-
spa.
Oh, so
Dark
spa
purple
like.
glass.
Is it really?
Yeah.
If you hold it up to the light, it
You
would
can
be
see it a little bit.
dark
Okay.
purple,
Yeah.
and that keeps the UV light out, preserves the product longer.
Yeah.
Keeps it fresh and effective.
Yes. So I'm excited to actually go on this trip with you to Turks and Caicos. I cannot wait.
And
We'll be
We're gonna
the
miss
master
you,
of fun and
girls.
content.
Some of us are
yeah,
very.
you're going to really be thinking about Ingrid. Uh-huh.
I won't be sharing any photos or pictures.
No, actually, you should. Because then, so do you have a date for next year?
We're looking at January.
Okay.
Ooh, that's
That's a
perfect.
good month.
Can I tell you
Okay.
where we're looking
Where?
at? Prince's former estate
Oh,
Where's
in Turks
that?
and Caicos.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I love it.
Wow.
Sign me up for that too. And you know what? Listen,
January.
if you are
Let's make a point. Let's do it.
interested in Meadow and Bark, we'd like you to go to meadowandbark.com. If you'd like to carry their products as an esthetician or a spa, please go to hello@meadowandbark.com. You can email them, right? And also, just remember this, ladies, how much money and time do we spend on these kids? If your kids wants a dancing lesson or wants to go away to a camp, we'll go above and beyond to make sure they get there, right? We need to do a
absolutely.
little something for ourselves once in a while.
Yep.
And we're
Mother's
so
Day's
happy
coming.
that you came and you listened to our podcast, Rebranding Menopause, and we hope to see you next time.
That's right.
Hey, New York. I'm Harvey, proud owner of Optics and veteran in the eyewear industry. Consider this. Why would someone have a closet full of shoes but only a few pair of glasses when eyewear is the only accessory that completely changes the way you look, feel, and the way you're perceived? At Optics, Cartier, Chanel, Dior, Lindbergh headline our extensive collection of luxury eyewear. Our opticians are trained to style and fit your face to ensure that when you leave Optics, your friends will be wondering where you shop.
Hi friends, this is Dana Persico from Long Island Nail, Skin and Hair Institute. The Institute is not only the premier venue for licensing and certification for beauty professionals in Long Island as well as New York State. You can receive beauty treatments specifically for anti-aging, facials, body treatments, laser hair removal, hydrofacial. Our senior students are working in the spa. They are happy to get any of our guests ready for their special event located in Bethpage, New York at 1055 Stewart Avenue. And the last most important thing, we know we get so much feedback from everyone and we're so grateful. So when you're on our YouTube, subscribe, comment, and like. Take care.